Hello, I want to talk about another admirable white person who was on the right side of history. This is part of a series um, of truly awesome white people who have fought for equality and freedom in the past and deserve statues and plaques and honor. So maybe we can replace some of the people who are truly problematic. And today we're talking about the woman who said this: "What is life without liberty? What is liberty without equality of rights?" That was Ernestine Rose. If you've ever said women's rights are human rights, you probably owe that to Ernestine Rose, this diminutive immigrant. Born in Poland in 1810, she was the daughter of a rabbi. And so, because of that, she got a much better education than most women of her time. The names of Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton, among others, are really well remembered in the women's rights groups, but they were excellent, but they were also problematic. I mean, Anthony once said, "I will cut off this right arm of mine before I will ever work for or demand the ballot for the Negro and not the woman." Anna Howard Shaw complained that former slaves were being made the political masters of their former mistresses. But there was a brilliant, influential, brave suffragist who stood on the right side of history all her life, Ernestine Rose. While she was still a teenager, her mother died. Her father, without telling her, promised her in marriage to one of his friends. She tried to talk him out of it. He refused. So she traveled in the dead of winter all the way to the civil court and made her case. The court ruled in her favor, deciding not only that she didn't have to marry that dude, but also that she was entitled to control her entire inheritance that her mother had left when her mother died. She actually gave the money to her dad anyway. She returned home and then discovered that he had married while she was gone. He married a teenager, a 16-year-old child. She then moved to Germany. She discovered that the law required her to have a Prussian person sponsor her if she was going to live there. She went to court and challenged that law and won. And while she was living there, she invented a kind of perfumed paper that you could put in a room or a drawer and use it as an air freshener. It was a pretty big hit. She traveled all around Europe teaching German and Hebrew, participating in truly radical political activities. She helped one of her friends create the Association of All Classes of All Nations, which pushed for equal human rights for everyone, regardless of sex, race, and class. And that was in 1834. She got married. The couple moved to the United States and became naturalized citizens. And she started giving speeches. This is a newspaper illustration of her. She's the one in the middle at the table with glasses on. She started giving speeches about abolition, equal access to education, equality for women, religious tolerance. She even dared to give these speeches in the Deep South, where one enslaver told her that if she were a man, he would have her tarred and feathered. A paper in Maine said that she was an atheist and therefore 1,000 times below a prostitute. She had to flee for her life after giving an anti-slavery speech in Charleston, West Virginia. When a New York judge proposed a law to allow women to hold property in their own names, Ernestine wrote a petition in support of that. She could only get like 5 signatures, but she submitted it to the state legislature, and therefore it became the first petition officially introduced that supported women's rights. She kept at that fight, by the way, for more than 15 years until a bill was passed that protected women's rights to own property. She was elected president of the National Women's Rights Convention in 1854. Even as an atheist, which would have been tough, she held a public debate with the male editor of the Boston Investigator, an abolitionist, because she said he was anti-Semitic. Here's another one of her quotes: "Slavery and freedom cannot exist together." She had some health troubles. She moved back to England, but she continued to advocate for women's rights and all human rights until she died in 1892. So she was able to see African Americans go free, but not to see women get the right to vote. Ernestine Rose was fearless. It is a tragedy that she has been mostly forgotten. A white woman truly worthy of admiring. Have a great day, and as always, please, please be kind.